What is the Camino de Santiago? Where is it? When does it happen? Why do people walk it? These were some questions posed by a very good friend yesterday, and I thought it's about time I did a video which answered those very basic questions for people who've never heard of it or wondering what it's all about. So coming right up. So yeah, a very good friend, Paul, asked me, hey Rob, what's that long walk that you do? Where is it? When is it? Now he's a runner, I think a marathon runner, and so he's used to sort of organized things. Paul, the Camino is not an organized thing. So let me answer some of those very basic questions for you. So what is it? Well, it's an ancient pilgrimage route. Christians have walked to Santiago de Compostela for at least 1,000 years, and we're led to believe that the bones of St. James are buried there underneath the cathedral. And so traditionally it was a religious pilgrimage. Why did people walk to Santiago? Well, way back at the time of the Crusades and so on, it wasn't possible for Christians to walk to Jerusalem. And so it became one of the big three pilgrimage destinations. There was Jerusalem, Rome, and then Santiago. Santiago became hugely popular. So that's what it's all about. Traditionally, it's been a religious pilgrimage, although people walk it for all kinds of reasons these days. What it isn't is a hike. If you're into sort of through hiking and stuff like that, that's really not what it's about. It's more like a Sunday afternoon stroll for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours every day. It's not particularly arduous, but it can be long. So you do need to like walking. So that's what it is. It ends in Santiago de Compostela on the northwest coast of Spain. Now the thing is, a lot of people, when they first hear about the Camino, think it's one particular route, depending on how you want to pronounce that. It's not. There are many routes all the way through Europe, coming down through France, through Germany, from Poland, Czechoslovakia, but the routes through Spain are the most popular and probably the best known, and the best known is the route called the Camino Frances, which actually starts just north of the Pyrenees in southern France and crosses right across the north of Spain to Santiago de Compostela, 800 kilometers. There are shorter routes, there are longer routes. How far do you have to walk? Well, there are really kind of no rules about walking the Camino. It's not a set thing. You turn up and you walk. But there are a couple of very basic conditions if you actually want to collect a certificate at the end of your journey from the Pilgrim Office in Santiago. And this is a certificate to say that you have walked the Camino. You can also get a distance certificate to say how far you have walked. But if you want that Compostela, as it's called, the certificate of having completed the Camino, you must have walked at least the final 100 kilometers into Santiago, or 200 kilometers if you did it on a bicycle or a horse. So you have to contiguous sort of 100 kilometers into Santiago to finish there to get your certificate. But of course, people walk further distances. I've done it twice from Saint-Jean, which is 800 kilometers, and then I started about 200 kilometers out one time as well. And of course, people are walking it on all different routes. If the certificate at Santiago is not the be-all and end-all for you, you can start and stop wherever you like. But I suppose the key thing is, particularly for Paul and people watching this, it's not an organized thing. You turn up, you start wherever you want, you finish wherever you want. If you want the certificate, you must finish in Santiago and you must have walked at least 100 kilometers. Do you get lost? Do you need to know how to read maps? No, particularly on the Camino Frances, which if you like is the kind of beginner's Camino. It's very well marked, very well signposted. A symbol of the Camino is scallop shell. I was trying to think of the name of the seafood, is the scallop shell. So you'll see all kind of scallop shell symbols all the way along. Almost every time you come to a junction, on the Camino Frances at least, there'll be some kind of symbol showing you which way to walk. Other symbols that you see are, I think you pronounce these in Spanish as mojones. So let me just zoom in on that. You see these little concrete pillars with arrows on them. This is just a souvenir, but the real ones are about 1 meter high. So you see these a lot as well, and it says, go this way, go that way. really very, very hard to get lost. Well, my wife Pat did once. That was pretty tricky. And so it's very easy, you just follow the arrows. What kind of equipment do you need to carry? Very little. Just think of it as a bit of a hike, but you're not carrying sleeping bags and tents and things like that. You're walking from accommodation to accommodation. There's all different types of accommodation. You can stay in sort of dormitory type stuff, which they're called albergues or hostels. You can stay in bed and breakfast accommodation, hotels. Is there lots of accommodation on the Camino Frances and other popular routes? Yes, loads of it. They've been supporting pilgrims for 1,000 years. Start to get it? So every village you come to is going to have cafes and accommodation options for the pilgrims walking the Camino. So in that way, it's really cool because you can walk really without any sort of pre-planned itineraries and things like that, and just walk from village to village, and there's plenty of places to stay. There are a few choke points where you might want to book ahead. All sorts of videos on the channel about that. So that's it. If you've never heard of the Camino, or you've kind of heard vague things about it, that's kind of what it is. It's this Christian pilgrimage that people have been walking for 1,000 years or more. People walk it for all kinds of reasons now, some for religious reasons, some just because they love to be out in nature and want to take a long walk. I think a lot of people are walking it because they want time unplugged. That's certainly the reason that I walked it in the first instance. They just want to unplug from their daily lives. They want to kind of get back to a simple life, just walk, eat, sleep, repeat is the thing that people often say, and live a simple life for a little bit and reflect on what's important to them and things like that. But in a nutshell, that's what the Camino is. And if you want some more details about particular aspects of the Camino, what equipment do I need? What are the accommodation options? What's the food like? I reckon almost any question that you have, there will be a video on this channel about it. But if you do have any questions, feel totally at liberty to type those down below and I'll do my best to answer them. So thank you for watching. Like I say, this video this week was for those who've really never heard of it or really wondered what it was. And for you, Paul, hopefully you understand now what it is and you'll be out there soon, I hope. So thanks for watching, everybody, and see you next week. Bye for now.